Tuesday, January 9th, City Council meeting. Council, if you would take a look at your agenda. Ordinances on the final reading, there are none. Ordinances on the first reading, item A, Madam Clerk. It's still not on.
Nope.
Just a second. Let's see. It's like they doing something. Let's see here. No. Okay, go ahead.
Yep, I think it was second.
No. Excuse me, tech services. We can't hear our clerk down here. Could y'all bring her another mic? Tyson, could you bring her another mic?
Hello. Another mic.
They'll bring you another one to go.
For this thing, I don't.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 21, Article 6, Office of the Administrative Hearing Officer, Section 21-239, review of citation, levy of civil penalties authorized by law.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so moved and properly second, Councilwoman Burrs.
I was just gonna move.
All right.
You good?
All right. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, ordinances on the first reading, planning item B.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 5910 Highway 153 and an unaddressed property in the 6200 block of Wilder Road from R1 residential zone and R4 special zone to C2 convenience commercial zone subject to certain conditions.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant present? Okay, I see an applicant. Is there any opposition present? All right, Councilman Henderson is in District 1. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
There we go. Karen, do you mind to come up and just read those conditions for the planning commission version? So we've got the right conditions.
Make sure I get the right one. This is, the ordinance says approve, subject to the following condition, approved with tax map and parcel number 091PB004.01 being subject to off-street parking and stormwater use only.
Okay. All right, thank you. Move approval.
Second.
Been motion and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item C.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 5126 and 5132 Strickland Circle from R2 residential zone to R3 residential zone.
Okay, is there applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Okay, that is in District 3. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Karen, can I ask you a question real quick? Sorry, I probably should have asked this earlier today when we met. When this was deferred for 30 days by Planning Commission, are there any issues with this development as far as we know at this point? There's nothing that we're still waiting on or any concerns?
No, if this is withdrawn, there is no active zoning case at that site. I think this closes out the 4 cases that were related to the one project, and the applicant confirmed today during the committee that it needed to be withdrawn still.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure because we did not state that earlier today that this was to be withdrawn. So that was what I wanted to confirm.
Yes.
Motion to withdraw.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to withdraw. Madam Clerk, item D.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 5116, 5120, and 5134 Highway 58, and 5 unaddressed properties in the 5100 block of Highway 58 from C5 Neighborhood Commercial Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone with conditions.
All right, is the applicant present? Can I see an applicant? Any opposition present? Okay, all right, it's the applicant and opposition. Councilman Hester.
I want to move to defer this for 2 weeks for the bill that has new information you want to provide to the community, be an adequate amount of time for that.
All right. Okay, been motioned and properly second to defer this until January 23rd.
Correct.
All right, any additional comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to defer until January the 23rd. Okay, Madam Clerk, item E.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 4228, 4230 Benton Drive, and 4057 South Access Road from R2 residential zone to C2 convenience commercial zone to M3 warehouse and wholesale zone.
All right, is there an applicant present? All right, any opposition present? All right, Councilman Hester.
Move to approve.
All right, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item F.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 824, 830, and 910 Dotson Avenue from C2 Convenience Commercial Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone subject to certain conditions.
Okay, is there an applicant present? All right, is there an applicant? Any opposition present? All right, this is in District 8, Councilwoman Knoll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. McDaniel, would you like to come up and present?
All right, and can we get 7 minutes on the clock for Mr. McDaniel?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is J.T. McDaniel. I'm the owner and the property that I'm trying to get rezoned.
Okay, go ahead. You listening?
You want to know the purpose of what?
Oh, yeah, say what you want to, what your purpose is.
Okay, my purpose is that I am familiar with the plans from really just when I moved back to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I already knew just how we should want District 9 to be. Although it's not in District 9, now it's in District 8. And I've been having businesses in District 8 ever since 1972. And that I saw the opportunity that this area was growing, and furthermore, the demographics is changing for the better. So I decided that in order to get that type of business in, and the people who want to come into the area, I need to have it rezoned.
Okay, is that it, mister?
Ma'am?
Are you finished?
Yes, is there any
Okay.
other questions?
What? I don't
Any
see,
questions?
yeah, I don't see any lights.
Okay. If, Madam Chair, if I might have Karen to come up and present for me too, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. McDaniel.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right. And she would like a presentation.
I'm sorry, I missed that, I apologize.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry for the
too.
awkward
Go ahead, I'm
pause.
sorry.
There's
Should I
a,
finish?
pulling up now. Okay, this is case 183. We did not have anyone come to Planning Commission in opposition, but we did receive an email and concern. It's a request to rezone 824, 830, and 910 Dotson Avenue from C2 Convenience Commercial Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone. The request is stated on the application is to allow for a greater variety of businesses on the site, including potential alcohol sales. The site is zoned C2 commercial, as is the property to the west and south of the site along the Dotson Avenue corridor. The property to the east and north of the site is zoned R1, which is that light yellow, and R2 in orange and R3. So commercial generally along the corridor, and then a mix of residential zones surrounding that. The site's a little less than 1.5 acres. The development form in the area is small-scale commercial, a church with associated parking, a variety of housing types on small urban lots. The applicant is, the site plan provided shows generally the existing structure of the site. So the applicant might want to speak to if any changes. The historic River to Ridge plan recommends mixed residential place type for the site. It's intended to provide a wide range of housing options for residents at various stages of life and walkable destinations in close proximity to each other. As you know, the River to Ridge plan has secondary uses, and these are really other items that can go in an area. Generally, in this case, along like A Streets, corners, there's different types of uses. Secondary uses in this place type include multifamily dwellings over 12 units per lot, neighborhood serving businesses such as coffee shops, bakeries, restaurants, pubs, offices, and studios. The lot's located on an A Street, a corner, and within 0.3 miles of transit. So that really, this location falls into that secondary use criteria. Staff found that the request for a UGC urban general commercial zone is compatible with the River to Ridge area plan surrounding land uses and development form. The UGC zone will ensure a compatible urban development form along Dotson Avenue. Staff recommending conditioning out some nuisance issues. So staff recommendation came with approving the UGC with limiting some uses. Again, I mentioned there was no one present in person at Planning Commission. We did have an email in opposition. I believe it's part of your packet with a mention of alcohol-related concerns. Planning Commission found the request is compatible with the plan surrounding land uses and development form, and it comes with a recommendation to approve with a condition of audit-oriented uses, adult-oriented establishments, self-service storage facilities, wholesaling with accessory warehousing, and hospitals shall be prohibited.
All right,
Okay, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually met with Mr. J.T. McDaniel at the Neighborhood Association to give a presentation and let them know exactly what he wanted to use the property for. And he could not say exactly what he wanted to use it for. He didn't know. So they felt like they needed to know more of what was going to be placed there in so close proximity to so many homes that are there. So in lieu of that, I'm going to have to move to deny.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion proper second. Any comments or questions? I'm sorry, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quite often, when zoning cases come up specifically in my district and they involve commercial, I go so far as to attach a site map in some cases, so I certainly understand the concern of the neighbors not knowing. And I believe the question was asked, Mr. McDaniel, as to whether you knew the use. Councilwoman Knoll, can I ask you that question again? Do you mind coming back up to the mic? So, Mr. McDaniel, the question was raised at a community meeting, and we're hearing about it, that the community would feel better if you presented this request with a plan of how to use the property, and I totally understand that concern. So I was wondering, do you, and I think this was a question earlier, maybe we didn't get the right answer, or maybe there isn't one, but do you have a plan for that property that can be presented at this time, or would even potentially, if you could have one soon, would a deferral be more fitting than a denial? And I wanted to give you that opportunity again to possibly explain that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, I do have. I would love to bring back just what I had before up on Dotson. I would love to have a Chinese restaurant I had on Dotson many years ago. I had a Ace rental company that I had years ago. And furthermore, I had an African-American town art gallery in that same area years ago. Now, as I was saying before, the demographics has changed a lot. Now other people are coming in, and that I am happy about that, because I sold a piece of property not too long ago, and this young man from Colorado purchased the land, and he opened up a martial arts studio. So these are the type of people that is coming into the area. And this is some of the business that I would like to bring back into the area.
And Mr. McDaniel, do you, and Karen, maybe this is a question for you, is this request to rezone necessary for what Mr. McDaniel would like to do with this property?
Yes, it is. It is necessary. It is.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said before, the demographic is changing up on Dotson. And I've been in business since 1972, and I have invested heavily in all three districts, 7, 8, and 9. And that I have come, and I have been very successful. And
Well,
now,
Mr. McDaniel, I don't think there's any question the amount of investment that you've had in this community over the years. You see a JT McDaniel on many corners when you drive through that area.
Yeah.
Which is one of the main reasons I wanted to make sure to give you that opportunity. However, that obviously that there could still be concerns from the community. My only point of this, we do have a motion to defer and a second.
Motion to deny.
I'm sorry, not to defer, to deny in a second. I would love to see a deferral and give you a certain amount of time to put a more solid plan together, not just, I would like to have this restaurant, but here is what I would plan to do, and hopefully the community might be on board with that, as opposed to a denial, but that is totally up to my colleagues who have already moved. I just wanted to make sure to give you that opportunity, sir.
okay, it's that I met with the neighborhood association, and I met with them on several occasions. I'm not recently, but I ran for office many years ago to let them know that this area was changing. And although I didn't get the opportunity, to do what I say I was going to do, but the area is changing, and it's changing for the better. Now, if deferring would give me time enough to try to persuade the neighborhood association, then I would do that. But to no avail. I'm being honest.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
for
you.
giving me the
Thank you, Madam
opportunity.
Chair, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. We have Councilman Smith. We have a couple of lights. Councilwoman Coonrod?
Thank you, Chair. My part of Avondale that I represent in 9, and when I talk to the neighborhood leaders and the people that were, community members in that area, they were in support of it. I'm not sure on the District 8 side if anybody, what they concerns were, but I think a lot of times when it comes to rezoning in our districts, this the type of stuff that when we don't allow changes to be made in our community, this is why our community is consistently going in a decline mode because of the lack of disinvestment or the changes in zonings and the things that we're championing for, we ask for, say that we want. We can't get it because it's outside of whatever the zoning code is. Now, I know one of the concerns that I did get from a letter that was emailed to us that I received that said they was concerned about alcohol and was saying that because that alcohol shouldn't be sold because it's a church that now reside inside of a funeral home. Well, okay, if that's the case, you got a couple of liquor stores, you got a couple of clubs, you got a lot of places that surround in that area that sell alcohol beverages. Alcohol isn't against the law to sell. We're adults and people frequently drink. I drink, socially drink. So I think that one person shouldn't be the deciding factor to say like this isn't something that we shouldn't have in our communities. The community is changing. It's not an all-black community. The income levels are most definitely changing in that area. And people want to be able to have walkability to go to different restaurants in their neighborhood, because when you think about this community, there's nowhere to sit down and eat in there. You can go pick up a pizza or you can go get some chicken from across the street at a convenience market, but there's no spots where you can really go have a sit down and eat place. And just recently, we just saw that was out of our hands where right beside a mosque, well, Muslims go and worship, that they zoned the area that was UGC. So if we're going to be willing to accept this at a Muslim religion establishment and put it right by them, then it shouldn't be no difference for us to honor the people, even when it comes to a church. Now, people, they got different religions, but at the end of the day, we can't pick and we have to stop picking and choosing and saying which neighborhood that this can be a UGC in, and we just gonna disregard what this group of people have to say about where they worship at versus in our neighborhoods and saying just because it's right across the street. Just because it's right across the street. But this type stuff, it always hinders our community. With this, it's so much that could be done under the UGC. I too agree with Ken, like I would wish that it could just be deferred. Well, we don't even know if everybody agree with the denial. We haven't taken a vote, but that if it could be deferred and then give him another opportunity to go back and talk to community. Maybe he could, solicit their feedback about what they would like to see in the area, because the times that I've known Mr. McDaniel, every time that they've requested something that they would like to see in the neighborhood, food or whatever it is that they requested, he's honored that request and made it happen in the neighborhood. So I'm sure it can't be anything that's more detrimental that whatever's happening now. It couldn't be the rezoning that will make it worse in that neighborhood, but that's just my community. It can only add value to it to benefit it.
Right. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Coonrod. I did have a question for you, Mr. McDaniel, if you don't mind coming back up. And then I do have Councilwoman Burrs, Ledford, and we'll finish up with Councilwoman Knoll. Now, the area you're talking about is on Dodson. Is it Dodson
Yes,
Avenue? Okay.
Dodson.
That area, the complex, I grew up in District 8, close to that area, and lived around your complex for quite some time. Now, in the past, that complex has had high criminal incidents, correct? Like there have been shootings. I don't know why I'm asking, because I know for sure that they have. Shootings, the police have come there multiple times to that location that you've rented out to certain people and have known that these things have happened. Is that
It had happened one time, yes, but you must realize that I've been up there since 1989, and that it was a terrible area then at that particular time, but I was willing to invest in the area.
Right.
But the area is not as bad as people say it is anymore.
Okay.
It has changed, and it's changing for the best, really and truly. It really is.
And I would just go out on a limb to say a lot of that change has been because that business has been shut down, correct? Your beer license was revoked for that area, right?
Yes.
So because your beer license was revoked and now it's a good area, I'm just gonna lean and say, maybe it's because the license was revoked, because I know that there were several incidents in that area, not just right at your space, but also at the space across the street from there as well. So I think in looking at this rezoning, and yes, I am, you know me, I'm for development. I'm for getting our neighborhoods back to where they need to be, in a great place of prosperity, economic mobility, and all those spaces. But then we also can't just accept anything in our neighborhoods. And so, you have invested and you've done a great job. And I know you had some property out in South Chattanooga as well. But when it comes to that particular space, because you had a great clothing store, you've had all types of things. But when it comes to that space up there, that has been a very hostile space for quite some time. The fact that the beer license was revoked, the fact that there has been high crime in that particular space for quite some time, and now it's better. And again, I can't say one way or the other. I'm just going to say, your license was revoked and that's better. So, those are things that we have to consider as well. Again, none of us are against making our communities better. None of us are against building nice things for our neighborhoods and investing in them. But we also have to consider the fact that, I live like 2 blocks from from your building. My sister lived a street behind, and the ruckus and things that used to go on after a certain hour, the shootings, the fighting, people riding through the neighborhood, it was just terrible. So when I think about, your establishment, the location is great. It's a great location. It's a great space. And my fellow council member asked specifically, what is the use? If I ask, I'm just gonna throw Alan Jones out here because I know he's here. If I asked him what they were gonna use this property for, he can come up here and say, it's gonna be a X square foot building for this, whatever. He wouldn't just say, well, in the past, I built this, and this. And I think that's the space that's missing too, that you haven't given us a definitive, I am going to renovate this space to do X, Y, and I'm going to do this. You've just kind of stated, this is what I've done in the past. And as an African-American in this community, I appreciate you. I remember the Chinese place because we used to go there after church. So I get it. I appreciate the work that you've done, but this is just one of those spaces where it has just not gone well. And so I just wanted to state that, and I just brought you up to ask about the revoked license and the crime, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move over to my colleagues. But I did want to make that statement because I didn't want it to seem like we were trying to stop an African-American man who has great value in our community from building or doing anything. But we also have to as African Americans, begin to look at our communities and say, well, what are those things that are hindering us? And this is one of those spaces that's kind of, that's hindering our communities from being great. So that's that one. Yes.
Can I address that, if you don't mind?
You can.
Is that I agree with what you have said. I have no arguments with that, and it has been a problem up on Dawson recently. But the point is that with the new administration that is in, is that it's changing. Let's forget about the alcohol. Let's forget about any of that. The time is now. What are we going to do now? That's what I'm saying. Like I said before, the area is changing. And I see it for the betterment. I sold a piece of property at 910 Dotson. This young man didn't have no problem coming into the area. You know, he was out of Colorado. He didn't have a problem with it. He got a martial art. And then I have reached out to Family Dollar, Dollar General. They was willing to come, but they realized that there was some other work that needed to be done on the property. Now I have reached out to Dollar Tree. I'm reaching out to other companies, you know. And then I would like to know what happened to what this company, this grocery store company that everybody wanted out on Glass Street.
IGA.
Right, but it was another company before it. What was it?
Save-A-Lot.
Save-A-Lot. It failed. Everybody wanted it, and I know the reason why it failed. They didn't come to me and ask JT McDaniel, well, why don't you put a Save-A-Lot up here? And the reason why I did not. Nobody talks about that. I'd like to give you all this here.
All right, and then we'll wrap it up, Mr. McDaniel. I do have a
Ma'am.
few more council members that wanted to address the issue as well.
Ma'am.
I said, and then we can go, you can state your statement, then we're going to wrap it up, because I have a
Okay.
couple other council members that wanted to address it as
But
well.
like I say, it's that it's so much that I can do with that area. Although it has been a problem. But I realized that just when I bought the land back in '89. It wasn't, it was terrible then, but it has improved considerably. People are coming in and buying land and building real nice homes in that area with beautiful architectural designs.
Right.
I'm telling you, it's changing, and I have to change with it.
I hear you, and I thank you so much, Mr. McDaniel, but it still goes back to the question, what are you going to use it for? And you still haven't given us a definitive answer. So
Well,
we'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there. The definitive answer, if I ask someone how they building a house, what type of house is 2-bedroom, 3-bath, they're going to say that you've given us information, a general scope, but you still haven't definitively said, I'm going to use this for retail space. I'm going to, so those are the things. So I'm going to leave it there and give it to Councilwoman Burrs, who has a comment.
Thank you. So what we're talking about is this council has a history of being against, the term is speculative rezoning. That's what everybody's talking about, speculative rezoning. And so I'm wondering if, and that's what they're all talking about. We can't unring the bells of what happened in the past, and let's assume that what you want to do is all good stuff for growth. I think the problem is that speculative rezoning is a wrong way to do it, because there is obligation to the people that are already there. So I'm wondering, and I haven't discussed this with my colleagues, I'm wondering if you would be considering withdrawing till it's not speculative, and that you have a plan in mind, and then you come forward, so there's something real that we can consider.
All right?
Can I address that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, did you want? Yeah. Yes,
I am willing to withdraw my second if you would like to reconsider and withdraw till such time as it's not speculative, that you have a real thing ready to go forward with. Even if you're rezoning to sell it, it would be to resell it to Dollar Tree, whatever you're talking about. But the decision that we make for the betterment of the city isn't speculative like that. Just something I'm tossing out to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Karen, remind us, with a denial at the council level, how long the time frame is for a reapplication back to Planning Commission?
12 months for an application, so it's not going through the process. We're not able to accept an application for 12 months on the same property after denial by council.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that was publicly stated. Mr. McDaniel heard if it was denied, sir, you would have to wait 12 months to reapply to Planning Commission for another rezoning. Just, it's out there, there it is. Thank you, Karen.
And any
Thank you,
withdrawal,
Madam
you
Chair.
can apply at any time.
All right. All right, I'm sorry, Councilman Ledford.
That's 12 months.
All
Thank you,
right,
Madam Chair.
thank you. All right, Councilwoman Knoll.
Thank you. Mr. McDaniel, step back up here, please. So first of all, let me say that no one, myself, nor the constituents, nor the Avondale Neighborhood Association meeting is trying to hinder anyone from making advancement into District 8. Now, you came before the Neighborhood Association meeting, and the question was asked of you, what do you want to do with the property? You said, I am too old to put in any businesses. I am going to sell it. And the question was, the people, when you sell it, what are they going to do with it? You say, I have no idea what they're going to do with it. And the statement was made where you're asking us as a neighborhood association to write you a blank check so you can sell it. And then whenever the people get there, they can decide what they want to put there. And it was, the whole room voted no. Did they not tell you that? Did they not tell you that they were not in agreement with that? We asked, if you wanted to, why wouldn't you develop it? And you said, I am too old to do that. They asked, if you want to put something, that you tell us what you want to put. And they said, if you can sell it exactly the way it's rezoned, and then when they decide what they want to do with it, they can come back before council and make a decision as to rezoning to accommodate whatever they wanted to put there. Now, where of any of that did I miss?
You didn't miss too much of anything.
I was there, yeah.
Okay.
And it was a very lengthy, very candid conversation with the neighborhood association. And the things that they said was what Madam Chair said, that the fights, the liquor, the noise, the police being called all the time, it was just disturbance after disturbance, and they did not want to deal with that again.
I like to withdraw.
Okay.
All right.
You need to have a withdrawal the second on the.
You want to make a motion? All right,
So if it's been seconded, what's the process?
we already have a
withdrawn my
second.
second.
So Councilwoman Burris has withdrawn her second. It
Then I make a
fails-
motion to withdraw.
So the initial motion fails for a second. All right. So motion to withdraw.
But let me say one other thing.
Okay.
Mr. McDaniel, did I not give you the option to withdraw before you came in here? The last meeting, did I not give you that option?
I don't remember
I
you
did.
telling,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, I really
All right.
do not.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor, okay, motion to withdraw, we have a proper
All right,
second. Oh, Lord, any comments or questions? All in favor for the
All right,
withdrawal? All opposed? All right, motion carries to withdraw. All right, thank you, Mr. McDaniel, we appreciate you, and thank you for your investments in our communities. Madam Clerk, item, what is it, H?
G.
Item G, all right.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 2722 and 2724 Cannon Avenue from R1 residential zone to R3 residential zone subject to certain conditions.
All right, is the applicant present? I see an applicant, oh, okay, any, opposition present? All right, that is in District 8, Councilwoman Knoll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I went out and visited the site, had a conversation with the developer and the neighbors around the development, and it is moved to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. Jordan, thank you for what you do in the community. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, Madam Clerk, item H.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1600 East 23rd Street from C2 Convenience Commercial Zone to an M3 Warehouse and Wholesale Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
All right, is there an applicant present? All right, I see the applicant, any opposition present? Okay, I see applicant, no opposition. It's also in District 8. Councilwoman
Yes,
No.
thank you, Madam Chair. Had a meeting with the gentleman, the developers here, a couple of times, and if Karen can come up, if Karen, yeah, if Karen can come up for me.
There are currently two conditions related to the ordinance. No adult ordinary businesses and self-storage use is permitted, and kennels are only permitted that are insulated and are indoors. No outdoor kennels permitted. And my understanding is there's a desire to add a third condition, that short-term vacation rentals are prohibited. But is not part of the current
Correct, it
ordinance.
need a
Right.
motion to amend
That's right.
that.
Yes, motion to amend.
All right, so do we have a motion, for this?
To amend for
Not
the,
amend, just a motion to get it on the floor. Motion
Okay.
to approve.
move to approve, I'm sorry. I'm
All
sorry.
right, it's been motioned and
I'm
properly,
sorry.
that's all right. It's been motioned and properly second to, approve this. Any comments or questions? All right, is there a motion to
The
amend?
motion to, yes,
Motion to amend?
to amend for short-term vacations for approval.
Okay,
Yeah.
Disallow.
No, to disallow. Yes, thank
to
you.
disallow short-term vacation rentals?
Yes.
All right, there's a motion to amend to disallow short-term vacation rentals. They got a second? Okay, any comments and questions about the amendment? Okay, all in favor of the amendment? All opposed? Amendment carries. All right, do I have a motion?
Move to amend. Move to approve as amended.
All right, it's been motioned and properly
Oh,
second.
Lord.
Any-
Okay. Oh, Lord.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries as amended. Madam Clerk, item I.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1413 East 17th Street from R2 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse, zero lot line zone, subject to certain conditions.
All right, is there an applicant present? All right, see the applicants, any opposition present? All right, this last one.
Yes, Lord.
Councilwoman
Okay.
No.
So, Karen, can you come up on this one as well? Thank you.
This ordinance has one condition: no parking between the residential dwellings and the street, and that is the recommendation from Planning Commission.
Madam Chair, if I might,
Councilwoman No.
make a statement that the developers agreed to move a shed or rebuild a shed and a driveway to the other side of the gentleman's property that was next door to it. So I just want to mention that and put it out there.
Okay, you want to state it? For the
Okay,
record?
so
All right, so you want to state for the record that they agreed to?
that they agreed to it, yes.
All right.
Let's hear yes from them. Not a head shake. Yes. Yes, praise the Lord. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Karen?
And I'm just confirming based on our discussion, that was just to go
Right.
into the record, but we were not recommending as a condition.
Right.
All right, thank you
Okay.
so much.
And so I move to approve.
It's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item J, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, so as to rezone 2603 Ocoee Street from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse, zero lot line zone, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, is there applicant present? All right, any opposition present? Okay, that is in District 9, Councilwoman Coonrod. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right. On the Public Works Transportation, item K.
An ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened street located in the 2700 block of Chickamauga Avenue and unopened 2800 block of Pennsylvania Avenue to recombine areas with properties located at 2801 and 2805 New Jersey Avenue as detailed on the attached maps.
All right. Council. Okay. Have a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Resolutions, Madam Clerk, we can take items A, B, and C as a group if there's no objection from council. All right, Madam Clerk.
Item A, a resolution confirming the appointment of Dr. Patty Skates to the Health, Education, and Housing Facility Board for District 1 for a term beginning on January 10, 2024 and ending on January 9, 2030. Item B, a resolution confirming the appointment of Hank Wells to the Health, Educational, and Housing Facility Board for District 3 for a term beginning on January 10, 2024 and ending on January 9, 2030. Item C, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Early Learning to accept an award of $19,382 from the American Rescue Plan Act, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds for purchase of band equipment and materials for the Hickson High School Band in partnership with the Hickson High School Band Booster Association, Inc.
All right, you've heard the reading. Okay, it's been motion and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. And is Dr. Patty Skates or Hank Wells here with us today? All right, Dr. Patty Skates, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate you very much. All right, on the fire, item D.
A resolution for approval to accept an equipment donation value in the amount of $30,000 from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee for 15 new stair climb chairs, which will aid in safely and smoothly transporting patients up and down stairs to allow firefighters a safer alternative to help reduce the possibility for back and shoulder strains, particularly for bariatric patients.
All right, council, you've heard the reading. Okay, got to move to approve in a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Planning item E.
A resolution approving a new special exceptions permit for a new liquor store located at 3973 Hickson Pike.
Okay, it's been, we have a motion and a proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Madam Clerk, item F.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to authorize change order number 3 for design services provided by CDM Smith, Inc. for the Standard Gap Bridge Replacement Project T14039 T.Pen number 127494.00 in the amount of $39,400.
Okay, Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
Okay, it's been motion and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. And if there's no objection from council, we'll take items G, H, and I as a group. All right, Madam Clerk.
Item G, a resolution authorizing the Department of Public Works Transportation Division to apply for and, if awarded, accept the Lyndhurst Foundation grant in the amount of $200,000 to create neighborhood connections that are not just safe and efficient, but also comfortable and inviting. Item H, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to renew contract number S21009-101 with CTI Engineers, Inc. for landfill deficiency recommendations and repairs to the liner, leachate, and gas collection systems at the City and Summit landfills for year 2 of 4 in the amount of $420,000. Item I, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to renew the professional services on-call blanket contract for landscape architect design services, contract number W16001 for year 4 of 5 to the 10 consulting firms listed per the qualification package for the total amount of $1,250,000. Number 1, ASA Engineering and Consulting, Inc., 2, Barge Design Solutions, 3, Alpha Venetian Company, 4, CDM Smith, Inc., 5, Core Engineering, 6, HDLA 7, Reagan Smith Associates, Inc., 8, Ross Fowler, PC, 9, Stan Tech Consulting Services, Inc., and 10, WMWA Landscape Architects.
All right, council, you've heard the reading.
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Item J.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Wastewater to award contract number W20021-201, Pump Station Improvements Phase 2 to J.S. Herring Construction Company, Inc., of Ottawa, Tennessee, for pump station improvements and upgrades at Big Ridge Number 5 and Creekside Preserve in the amount of $4,277,000 with a contingency in the amount of $427,700 for a total amount of $4,704,700.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We've come to purchases. Have Ryan coming up. All right.
Good evening, council. We have 7 purchases recommended for approval this evening from Fleet and Public Works. Our first purchase, this is for 4 new blanket contracts for fire apparatus repair and maintenance services. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $200,000 per year. The awards will go to Chattanooga Truck Center, Inc., Randall Brackett Fire Truck Repair, LLC, MHC Kenworth Chattanooga, and Lee Smith, Inc. as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. Second, from Fleet Management for Public Works, this is for 2 new blanket contracts for automotive window tinting services. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $100,000 per year. The award will go to Volunteer Service Company and Total Image Window Tinting LLC as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. Third, Fleet from Public Works. This is a one-time purchase of 2 2025 Kenworth T480 with Bush Hog for Street Maintenance Division in the amount of $509,402,000. This purchase will utilize the Sourcewell contract number 060920-NAF. Number 4, Fleet from Public Works. This is a one-time purchase of 1 2023 Freightliner 114 SD with JetVac 900 Eco 12-yard truck mounted combination sewer cleaner for stormwater, street maintenance division of $549,868.79. This purchase will utilize the Sourcewell contract number 101221-SCA. Number 5, Early Learning Department Head Start. This is a 1-month extension of this contract to complete the bidding process for milk and dairy products. No additional money will be added. Number 6, from Department of Technology Services, this is a request for a new 4-year blanket agreement with Rubicon using Sourcewell contract 0202221, annual contract amount not to exceed $59,630. And finally, number 7, from Department of Technology Services, requesting a new 2-year agreement with Dell Marketing for hardware, software, peripherals, and professional services for an annual estimated amount of $4 million using Omnia Partners Cooperative Contract number 01-143 with Dell Marketing LP.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and finally, we have an emergency purchase notification for council this evening from the mayor's office. Emergency purchase for Chattanooga Regional Homeless Coalition, the amount of $500,000 due to the depletion of funds during the coldest months of the year, as well as the number of outstanding referrals from various agencies received by our Office of Homelessness and Supportive Housing. An emergency purchase is being utilized to ensure individuals experiencing homelessness in the Chattanooga community can be moved into permanent housing as quickly as possible. With colder weather, unsheltered individuals, including many families with children, are at an increased risk for experiencing negative long-term health outcomes and other adverse experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have committee reports. Councilwoman Coonrod. Okay, Councilwoman Knoll.
No report,
Thank you. Councilwoman Burrs.
No report.
Okay, Councilman Henderson. Councilman Smith. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Planning and Zoning did meet today where we covered the items on our agenda that council wanted to give special attention to. We also publicly announced again 2 public input education sessions upcoming on the new proposed zoning codes to add to the existing zoning codes that we have. That will be held Wednesday, January the 10th, from 5 to 7 at the DRC, and then Wednesday, January 17th at the Family Justice Center, and that starts at 5:30. Council will also have a work session on the proposed zoning codes on January the 30th here in our conference room, starting at 1 p.m. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Ledford. Councilman Hester.
We did meet today. I want to thank Scott Martin and Donald Walker on their presentation on the fee recovery.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, and Madam Vice Chair.
No report.
All right, under other business, we have a debt report for EPB revenue bonds. Come on up, Vicky.
Yes, ma'am. Tennessee law requires us to report new debt obligations, no actions required on your part. On December the 19th, 2023, EPB issued electric system revenue bonds, Series 2023, through a competitive bid to fund capital requirements for the electric system. The face amount of the bonds is $112,125,000. The bonds were issued at a premium with a true interest cost of 3.96325%. Did I say that? Let me make sure I got that right. 3.963265%. The final maturity of the bonds is September the 1st of 2043. The bonds include $529,818.10 of issue costs to cover things such as financial advisory services, legal fees, rating agency fees, and underwriting.
All right, any questions?
What did you say the maturity date?
43.
September 1st.
2043. 2043.
All right, any other comments or questions? All right, thank you very much. Okay, City Attorney.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to report that there is a certificate of compliance for Brijesh Patel, DBA 423 Liquor and Wine at 3973 Hickson Pike, and that is in District 2 here, and that has been at least reviewed, and this applicant meets the requirements of the city code in that regard.
All right, thank you so much. Now comes time for people who wish to address the council. If you would like to address the council, please line up behind that podium as our city attorney reads the rules.
Yes, ma'am. At the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public that wish to address the council, and here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized with the microphone up front provided for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Please do not engage in vulgar or obscene language nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law. And someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having read those rules, please go ahead and comply, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, John, District 9. As some of you may have seen and some of you may not have seen, in November, Spotify sends out a report on what people have listened to that year. And people share it as a badge of courage, or as a parent like myself, my Spotify playlist is peppered with preferences of my kids who listen to the same songs over and over again when we're on road trips. But the purpose of Spotify Wrapped is to show you a little bit of who you are in the last year by displaying what albums and artists you've spent the most time with, what genres you're a part of. And so I wanted to give you a bit of housing and transit wrapped for Chattanooga. On one side of the handout that you've been giving will just be really big, bright numbers. And then on the other side are some charts and graphs that some friends at a group called Strong Towns put together. And I want to point out some things that we're seeing here. So the first thing that we all know that's looming over us from 2023 is that there were 17 pedestrian and cyclist-related deaths, which was a 220% increase. This may seem like an anomaly, but when you look at our housing and how we're growing and the different types of housing and the density that we've been able to achieve over the last year, it's coming to a breaking point. If you look at the image that looks like a heat map or a weather map, you'll see the hot spots around town. This is the accumulative car-related crashes that have happened over the last 5 years. You'll see red zones on Fraser, an intersection near my house on Holtzclaw and McCauley, Martin Luther King Boulevard, as well as Main Street. These are areas that are the most dangerous to exist as a human being when it comes to the potential of being killed by a car in Chattanooga. This is important to take note of because we need more effective forms of transportation. We're at a breaking point. But it's also worth noting that we are increasing housing density, and that's a good thing. When you look at the 54 permitted additional accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, from a policy that was changed years back, that is a huge jump from the years before. It's a small number, but you have to remember when you fit 5 townhomes on a lot where there used to exist 1 house, the 4 people extra that are on that lot aren't displacing and further gentrifying that area. They are keeping people from being pushed out further into the periphery, further away from their jobs, and further away from their social capital. So as you look at these numbers, it's not meant to just be alarming, it's also meant to be encouraging, that the policies and changes that we make here can make a difference. And one of the most important things from transit is increasing the form of transportation that we have, making places more walkable, safer for other options, and multimodal. And I included some suggestions in that yellow box for potential legislation as well. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Hi, I'm John LaRosa, District 1. I am here again to just talk about bike and pedestrian safety, as I've been before. And as I biked here tonight across the Walnut Street Bridge from my apartment in Hill City, I thought about how much I appreciate being able to bike downtown and to other parts of Chattanooga. I get some exercise, it's one less car on the road, which would be causing, adding traffic, adding to climate change. I don't have to worry about parking or even traffic, really. It's really great. The thing is, I'm a pretty strong biker. I've been biking in an urban environment for over 15 years, and not everyone's going to feel as comfortable as me navigating Fraser. The new traffic calming measures that have been implemented on Fraser help make it a much safer place to bike and walk, and I'm happy that the pilot was extended to encompass some work days. So thank you for that. And then I thought about the new housing development that's being built on Manufacturers Road. And I thought, I hope those new Chattanoogans will feel comfortable biking and walking downtown from there as well. For one, because the people moving to our city have shared our voices and expressed the desire for multimodal transport, which you've heard from me and from a lot of other people in previous weeks. And secondly, because if they don't feel comfortable, we're going to see more traffic on the road, continued safety concerns, and our city is just going to be a less enjoyable place in which to live, work, and visit. So to just end it, I would say that I encourage the city council to do whatever it can to implement permanent traffic calming measures on Fraser. Many, if not all, the proposals from 2016 would be a huge improvement to Fraser's safety. And a number of us, myself, John, and a lot of other people that have spoken about this, stand ready to help in any way we can, whether it's holding community meetings to gather feedback, if it's performing traffic studies or walk audits, whatever it is, come ask us. We want to help. We want this to happen. And we want these traffic calming measures to be made permanent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Gray Gill, District 1. I would also like to show my appreciation for the city extending the traffic calming measures on Fraser to collect more data and see how we can make that a safer place and collect more data. So I'm here tonight to offer some anecdotal data from a recent experience navigating the Fraser Avenue and the new layout from this past Saturday. I was trying to bike from North Chattanooga to Velo Coffee on a quiet Saturday morning. And as I was coming in front of Clumpy's within the cones, the woman behind me in her Lexus decided she did not want to be behind me and started honking and eventually used the parallel parking spots that were empty in front of Clumpy's to aggressively pass me, coming within inches of the sidewalk where two individuals were killed just down the street months ago. But just highlighting the need for safer infrastructure in this area, and many areas in Chattanooga, but especially this area with local businesses, folks who try to bike and walk and get to the walking bridge, but currently it's very dangerous just to get to the walking and biking bridge. And so, yes, I was angry and upset with this driver for her dangerous, erratic behavior, but I'm up here not to vent about this one driver and point all the blame at her, but just to raise, to highlight that the main issue is just, once again, we need permanent, safe, protected infrastructure on Fraser for people walking and biking. I bike around Chattanooga for transportation and recreation. I ride this route often and for 7 years. And this is not the first time I've had an unsafe, hostile incident in this area. And I rode here tonight taking that same route. And especially at all hours of the day, we need to make sure that it's safe for everyone. And having a fully separate, protected path connecting to the walking bridge is the best way to do that, and extending the sidewalks for pedestrians as well. So thank you so much for extending that pilot, and I hope that you'll continue to pursue efforts to create permanent, safe infrastructure there. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Giving honor to God, hello to the council. It's good to be here again. I was here 3 weeks ago, and I was here to let people know just what a good person Gerald is, and that he should be back at the center at Avondale.
If you could state your name, I'm sorry, your name.
David Crutcher, I apologize.
All right, thank you.
Yes. I've been looking at this situation over the last 3 weeks, and I truly believe that it's very similar to a witch hunt. I have not seen anything yet that would make me feel that something was wrong. He was accused of Gerald Perry was accused of having a toxic situation up at Avondale Center. I have not seen anything that agrees with that. We have several people here to speak on his behalf. I know that in an investigation, they will talk with a lot of different people all over, because I've been aware of that. I work with the city. And a lot of times, they be good people, don't get me wrong. They'll be saying anything. But a lot of times, those people may perceive things a certain way. And hey, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon because someone else said something was bad about that person. I'm gonna do it too, because 2 years ago, he did this to me or said that to me. Well, how would you feel if you had a child that was 10 years old and some kids came to you and one child said, hey, when your son was 8 years old, he hit me upside my head with a rock. Then another kid come along and say, hey, he pulled my hair. Then another kid comes up. He took my ice cream and threw it on the ground. As a parent, are you gonna go back, get that kid and spank him for something allegedly done? How many of y'all would do that as a parent? You wouldn't. What you would do is address it at the time it happens. It appears that some of the things that are going on now is they're getting away from the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. If this is what was alleged, deal with that. Don't bring in everything else, to sort of a lot of rhetoric to throw it off course. You won't ever get to the right answer. We have a lot of good people working with the city, a lot of good people, a lot of good supervisors. But because they're supervisors, that don't mean they're always going to be right. Just because you're the supervisor don't mean you're always right. It means you have an opinion. So, and I know this for a fact, there are some people that Gerald maybe done pissed off a little bit, as most of us have with some people. We all have done that at some time or another. So some may feel this is the time to get him back. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But if you had 4th stage of cancer, are you gonna wait till they get to the 4th stage before you start trying to give the 1st stage on it? No. Training, counseling, evaluation, all those are needed in order to
All
get
right.
things straight. Thank you very
Thank you
kindly.
so much, Mr. Crutcher. All right, council, I don't see anyone else wishing to address the council. What's your pleasure? Meeting adjourned.